everyone, and welcome to the Writer's Bridge. We are so glad to have you here. Every week, we are here to demystify author platform and make it fun. We love having you here. Some of you are here for the very first time. Some of you are here every single week, and we love you all equally. Tonight, we are going to talk about do-overs, social media posts that should have flown, but instead they flopped. And we're going to talk about why that is. Before we dive in, Ashley, we have a brand new program. What is it?
We do, and we are so excited about this. We've been trying to figure out ways that we can offer more consistent support to our community and our audience because we see everyone working so damn hard. Also, we have clients we work with one-on-one where we're able to implement strategies and tweak and figure things out. And we were trying to figure out a way to give some of that to you, kind of the cheat sheets, like, okay, if you only do this and this every week for this year, how can you grow your platform? What are like the proven, can't go wrong strategies? So we're delivering those Mondays and Fridays in the Express Lane newsletter. The early bird price ended last night, $19.99 a month or $199 for the year. But we have a code for you that's good for 48 hours if you want to lock in that 1 year price at early bird, and it's Bridge 2022. So I'll drop that in the chat, and we'll also tell you again at the end. But first lesson went out yesterday. If you sign up now, you will get yesterday's lesson as well. We'll get you all up to speed, and we're just super excited about it.
I have been having so much fun boiling down like a great big platform building task into what is 15 minutes worth. Okay, no, do a little bit less than that. No, do a little bit less than that. Because if you want to, you can always go longer, but I want stuff to take 15 minutes. So welcome to the Bridge for Do-Overs today. Let us start with our questions of the week. Gina asks, if I wanted to turn a blog into a book, but I've never considered myself a writer, who do I need on my team to support me? What I would really recommend is have some kind of a meeting with either a book coach or an editor and just do an introductory step-by-step. This is what I've got. This is what I'd like to do with it. And part of that process is going to be deciding, do you want to publish a book or do you want to be a writer? Both of those are valid. They are not necessarily the same path. Sometimes they overlap, but they are not always the same thing. So if your real goal is publish a book, build your platform, do public speaking, it might be worth it to throw some money at a book coach or even a ghostwriter and have them take some of that process off your shoulders. However, if what you really want to do is be a writer, your process is probably going to involve reading some books on writing, starting to learn how to write a full book, starting to learn how to weave all those blogs together. So decide how much money you want to spend versus spending time getting better. And it'll really help to have a one-off meeting with a pro, even if they don't end up being the person that you keep working with. Ashley, do you want to add anything on that?
I'm not sure if Jane Friedman is doing 1 hour consults anymore, but throughout my publishing journey, getting on Zoom with her to give me advice and insight and share her experience has been invaluable. So like Allison is saying, find someone who can just talk you through your options. It will save you, even though it's an investment of a couple $100 for that hour, it will save you hours of grief and worry and wonder and backstepping to just have somebody with a view that goes a little further and a little broader than yours give you some advice.
Ashley, what's our second question of the week?
Gracie asks, how can I increase traffic to my site? And our first question is, why do you want to increase traffic to your site? Does it make you money? Are you selling things on your site like courses or ebooks, or are you growing your list by bringing people to your site? What we want is we want people clicking, bouncing around online to the different places that they can consume your things, whether that's Medium, whether that's a HuffPost essay, whether you wrote something for the Brevity blog. We only want to direct people to your site if they can only get specific things there. Otherwise, we just get our link tree set up, or you do a custom link in bio. I just switched to ashleyrenard.com/links for the purpose of when people go to my links at my link in bio, 3 seconds later, they get a pop-up like they would if they visited my website. Because guess what? They're actually on a page of my website, but it looks like a link tree, so that I'm getting more email signups through that.
For most of us, our website is basically a business card until it becomes a storefront. So if you want to drive traffic to your website to get people's addresses or to get them to purchase things, publish other places and link back, or offer valuable content like a downloadable freebie that people want to turn up for. But unless you're actively selling stuff, it really doesn't matter if you have a ton of website traffic. It's really more to have a central location for your information online.
Absolutely. I've just started some new brand partnerships, and no one asks me about website traffic. They ask me about my social reach. I put in my website traffic and I put in my email list and open rate, because those are things that they just assume not everybody has. But when you have those things, putting them together is going to show you have a more diversified way of reaching people.
So let's dive into those socials. What makes a post fly and what makes it flop? And as it turns out, it is the exact same stuff that make the beginning of your essay, your article pitch, your memoir, or your novel hook readers and make them want to read on. I want to say, first off, keep in mind what the reader will see first. If they're opening their email on their phone, they're going to see the first 3 lines or the first 2 lines of your newsletter. If they're opening your book on Amazon, they're going to see the first couple pages in an Amazon preview. If it's a reel, they're going to see an image first. If it's an Instagram caption, they are going to see the first line or the first line and a half of the caption. So you want to use that real estate wisely with a compelling opening. And it's often something vivid, counterintuitive, unexpected, or thought-provoking. So I'm working with authors on proposal overviews right now. And I opened one the other day, and it started with, "My life began the day I was arrested for attempted murder." I'm clicking, I'm turning pages. I want to know what happens next. It is counterintuitive as well as shocking. It's not "my life ended the day I was arrested for attempted murder." My life began. And so that's compelling. That makes me want to read on. I did an Instagram post myself that said I wasn't expecting the leaning bamboo of Pisa. And it was a photo of me with some leaning bamboo. Pisa is famous for the Leaning Tower. And I talked about, how you basically grow where you're planted and what's the minimum you actually need. But I tried for something that is not what people are expecting at the beginning. Ashley, you start a lot of yours with "before you get divorced."
Yes, any sort of marriage or relationship advice, instead of saying, "I have ideas for diffusing an argument," I say, "before you get a divorce, part 12. And then maybe it's a funny tip about how when we have a complaint for each other, we have to start the sentence with, "Is the complaint department open?" And then I talk about why that is. It's actually, it gives the person, the person who's going to take the complaint has to consent. The person who's coming in with the complaint has to take a second and follow the protocol. So you're not really coming in hot. You're coming in for a conversation.
But the post is starting with what's at stake for the reader, what matters to the reader, not "my life is great," but "before you get a divorce."
And that's what I think we're going to see. That's what I think we're going to see in a lot of these post do-overs, is sort of digging. Well, we're hooking people in, right? So there are ways that we can show them something super sweet. Jamie McGillan has been posting these baby videos of when her daughter Rachel was a baby, and her husband's asking baby Rachel all these questions like, "Rachel, can you wear white after Labor Day?" "No." "Rachel, do you like strawberries?" "No." "Rachel," and it's just all of these things. Hilarious, right? That's like the candy or like the pet video that we want to share. As writers, quite often what we're going to be doing is going, "Oh, this hard human thing that we all experience. Oh, I'm going to give you some help with that." But in order to hook them in, you need to start with the hard. You need to start with the scary. You need to start with the, "Oh shit, what could be worse than getting a divorce?" Because that's probably what
I've always
some people
thought
are
of
thinking
toddlers as basically pets, so I think that pet video thing is pretty ideal. One of the things to think about is don't bury the lead. Whatever the hook is that is directly relevant to your audience, put it up front. And my favorite story about how to know what the hook is, imagine that you are the editor of the high school newspaper and your principal comes to you and says, okay, we need a story this week. Our school has been honored as the very best school in the district. And next Thursday, every teacher and every administrator in the school is going to be having a special banquet in their honor at the Hilton downtown. Each teacher is going to be given $1,000 for classroom supplies, and they're going to be given another $1,000 for the teacher to go take a little weekend vacation and refresh and recharge. So if you're the high school student newspaper editor, what's the headline of that story? The headline is "No School Next Thursday." Because that's what your audience cares about. Sure, they also care that your teachers have been honored, that your school is awesome, but what they really care about is there are no adults on campus on Thursday, and therefore no school next Thursday. So you want to take a look at what you're offering your readers and figure out what is the no school next Thursday moment for them. We're going to dive into some do-overs of some of your posts. One of the things we really want you to remember is that criticism is respect. We criticize because we think that you are honestly capable of doing better. We think that you deserve better. We think that you can create better. And all it takes is a little nudge in the right direction. Everything we say it with love in our hearts. Ashley, do you want to add on to that?
Allison coached circus arts and I coached synchronized skating, each of us for decades. We fall in love with potential all the time. So when we see anything that you post, even if you post something that goes viral, she and I are going to look at it and go, ooh, and next they could do this. Oh, and what if she did that? So that's the thing. Anything that we see, we're trying to figure out how to make it better. So when you specifically asked us, hey, how could I make this better? It's one of my favorite things in the world. And these episodes, these do-over episodes, I think are my favorite type of episode we do.
Yep. You know, your coach doesn't like you anymore when they stop yelling at you. We're always going to yell at you because we love you that much. So let's take a look at this reel from Jamie Gehring, who has written a wonderful book called Madman in the Woods that's about growing up next to Ted Kaczynski. And Jamie says, this one did all right, but not near what I thought it would. I'm about to record part 2, and I'm definitely looking for advice. I thought this one would connect to my true crime audience more. So it's visually good. It looks like a documentary. Jamie has really mastered this art of putting good visuals together. However, it is a recitation of facts that we already know about Ted Kaczynski. If I'm not already into this story, there's nothing new to intrigue me because there's no question, there's no secret. If I'm into the story already, there isn't anything new. And Jamie's whole book, the purpose is she's got insider information about not only Ted Kaczynski, but that kind of weird survivalist mindset because she grew up in that part of the country. So this is a report rather than a new take. And Jamie's whole brand is an interesting new take.
What I love about Jamie's story and the angle she's taking is every one of us as a little kid was scared that we heard someone outside our window. Jamie did hear somebody outside her window, and he was the fucking Unabomber. So I want Jamie to lead with that whenever she can. As a kid, I was scared alone in my bedroom. Turns out I wasn't wrong to be, right? And then you show the picture of the Unabomber, my neighbor. Read more in Madman in the Woods. Pre-order now. There are millions of people who want to be inspired online, and there are millions and millions of people who are into true crime because they like being freaked out. So go for that. Go for the freaky. Go for focus on you, Jamie. I know it's really this is a thing, even though memoirists, of course, we're writing about our own lives, really putting the focus on how we feels a little odd sometimes. But by focusing on how you really felt about this then and now, Jamie, you're going to hook people in because that's what's going to resonate with people. Not many people have dreams of being a serial killer. Everybody has felt scared in their room alone as a kid.
And Stephanie's got a great suggestion in the chat. You could open with the question, how did a Boy Scout turn into the Unabomber? And that's a question. That's something that we'd like to know the answer to. And Jamie has the answer. Next one, we are going to stop in on a Facebook post by Beth Ann Matthews. And she says it's a Facebook post about our sailboat having a role in a recently released Netflix film. It did okay, but I was hoping it might spark more interest and encourage people to visit my website than it did. Our sailboat also plays an important role in my upcoming book, Deep Water, a memoir of love, loss, adventure, and love rekindled, coming out next May from She Writes Press. So the first thing I see here is that the caption is the same information as the thing that she's written, the headline. So you don't need to repeat the information that's from the preview of the link in the thing. Our sailboat of 30 years resilience was chosen for a supporting role in a new Netflix movie. But the headline is Sailboat Resilience has supporting role in Netflix movie. You don't need to repeat it. It's already there for you. The other thing is keep your sense of proportion. So this got 58 comments and 147 likes. Most of Beth Ann's posts, when I scroll back, are doing 5 to 10 comments, 15 to 20 likes. This did 5 times as well as most of the posts and twice as well as her very best posts prior to this. It didn't do that bad relative to what she's got. Ashley?
When we have big news like this, it is really easy to put our eggs in this basket and think, this is the thing that's going to go so huge. This went big for Beth Ann, but I get what she was hoping or feeling. Okay, Beth Ann, I would love to hear what it's like being a stage mom to a boat. I would like to hear how that happens. I would like to hear if you're missing the boat because it's actually gone. I would like, with this caption and this clip, to see that it has this supporting role. I want to hear something about your book. I want to hear something about the book that's coming out. Like, I want to see more of your writing. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to share this again and share this more, with just tying in some different aspects.
We've got some great suggestions in the chat too. Abby says, why were actors Josh and Lauren Strickland on our boat? Allison says, did the boat get farmed out on a day rate or a monthly rental? Betty says, Beth Ann misses the boat. Sue says, we're not actors, but our boat is. All of these are just so much fun. And they fill in the stuff that we want to know about what it's like to be the set of a movie. You know, it's your brush with fame. Right now, there is no need to click through because we don't need any additional information. It's all right here. So we say, cool, congratulations. Whereas instead of visit our photo essay to share the behind the scenes night of filmmaking, visit our photo essay, what about, you know, to see my husband freaking out because they scratched the varnish, to see the actors canoodling behind the scenes like we're paparazzi. You know, let us know what's the cool, juicy thing we're going to need to see. Anything else, Ashley?
I love it. Just everybody's putting in so many things here. Yeah, and just having a boat that's more famous than you are, like, it's just funny, right? Like, just these are the kinds of things that, I mean, now I'm thinking of my husband and kids would like short videos of like a person sort of being an entourage member to like a boat. Like, oh, here, oh yeah, I checked your appointments. Yeah, like you're the assistant to the boat, like just something like that. Will our boat be heading to the Oscars? Abby says, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so the next one we are going to look at is Isidra Menkos, and this is her reel on Instagram, 30 Days of Flaws. Take it away, Ashley.
Okay, the real gem of this post is Isidra's caption. Her caption when she's talking about how she deals with anger when it just bubbles out, like how she then tries to repair the situation or the relationship. So when what you are saying is more drawn out and more insightful and more hefty, weighty than what you can get across in a video, this is one of the only times I would recommend using a trending sound. I don't know.
What's a trending sound, Ashley?
A trending sound is a short thing that you lip sync. And you can tell the person who's saying it, doesn't match up with the voice. There's this one where it's like, how do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. My best, Tom. I do my best. If you've seen that one, that would be an excellent one for a Zedra to use right here. What do you do when you're anger? What do you do when you lose your shit with a friend? And then you say, try the way I try to fix it, information in caption, read caption for how I want to fix it. Well, she lip syncs, my best, Tom, I do my best. So that's the kind of thing. When you use a trending sound to drive, I would say only use a trending sound when you are trying to pull in attention for something of substance that you're giving in the caption. Always make it clear with the text on your video what your topic is, because you can use that trending sound to talk about shoveling snow or to talk about complex PTSD. All right. We want to be clear what you're talking about, like what your sort of niche is. You don't have to be niche, but you're talking about something specific.
Hey, Ashley,
yeah.
How would we find these trending sounds? Like what do I do if I'm going to make an Instagram reel or a TikTok and I want to find a trending sound?
So the way you find them is by going to the little home or the little discover. If we go over here on the little like compass on Allison's screen right now, up in the top right menu, that'll take you to a bunch of photos and videos. You could start clicking on them. You could scroll. If you find a sound that you like, you tap right down. Allison, if you scroll down actually it says right there, the Safari's Wipeout is the sound she has right now. If it was a lip syncing, right under Azidra's profile name, right beside follow, it has the sound she used. So you can click on there. I suggest doing this on your phone. And then you click the little tab with the little flag to save that sound. You'll be prompted to save that sound. It'll be right at the top. And then you can go to your saved audio library inside Reels to then choose that sound and lip sync to it. But two things, you have to have a good caption when you're using a trending sound, and you have to direct people to the what and the why of the caption with text on your video.
One last thing I'd say about Asidra's video here is I'm questioning what her voice is. Usually on social media, we want to be even a little bit more casual than we are in our books, even when we're speaking directly to the reader. And I don't know if she is a person of the level of formality who would say, I am usually quite calm, but on rare occasions, I explode like a volcano. I once yelled for 5 minutes when a friend failed to do what she had promised for a project we were working on together. Maybe that is her voice, but it sounds a little sticky in the muddy. And I would love to hear more of Asidra's actual voice. Like if she said, usually I'm pretty calm, but I can explode like a volcano. I once yelled for 5 minutes when my friend let me down. I think she can find a little bit more of what is her friendly, relaxed voice for the purposes of social media.
And because social media is quick, and TikTok's done this thing to social media to make it even a little bit more casual. Like you could just be like, ever lost your shit? I did once for 5 minutes. Like even just like sort of like bullet points to get people in and tell them the story.
Yeah. And I think this 30 days of flaws thing is really interesting. And it might be worth coming up with a particular, you've got a hashtag. So that's great. 30 days of flaws. Because you've got that thing that looks like soft flaws there at the end, you might want to use what we call camel case, where you go ahead and capitalize the words, which is also easier for people who are reading with screen readers, which can be really valuable. All right. Shall we move on to Janice's book trailer?
Let's do it. So Janice has a 90-second book trailer here, and she posted it in Binders Building Platforms asking, so I did all this work on this book trailer. I just saw that maybe I should have something that's short and punchy. Could you let me know what you think about this? So the story, Standing at Water's Edge, that's what it's called, I think, right, Janice? Is about, Janice was a cancer nurse, and then her son was diagnosed with leukemia. And there's just was a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. And her son Drew, that's one of the ways that he worked through his feelings during treatment, and he came through, but then she was having, seems like kind of some post-traumatic reactions to the situation, right, Janice? So I think there are so many great points and great hooks in your book, but we need to break it down. I think this could be 9 or 10 different videos.
And Lisa asks in the chat, what do you consider the ideal length for a book trailer? And I would say 15 to 20 seconds, maximum 60 seconds. And that's if you have professional production quality. And Ashley's going to tell you how you might break this down into smaller sessions. Because right now, your topic is valuable and important, and your book trailer feels like I'm watching somebody else's family slideshow.
Yep. And you want to make this applicable to anyone who sees it. You want it to pull at their heart. You want them to go, oh, okay, that could help me. So really taking some of the personal, taking some of that personal sort of family photo album out of it, but I'm going to tell you how we're going to put it back in too. Okay, so I think that we should think about 10 separate videos for this. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 specific ideas, and then some instruction on what to do next to see what other parts of this you're going to tease out or what parts you're going to focus on. Okay, so I would show a photo of you as a nurse, or even just a still shot of a nurse. As a cancer nurse, you think X, Y, Z. Do I have the medication right? Am I going to get a break? Is this kid, am I going to see this kid tomorrow? All right. So like things that actually do weigh on nurses, but then you say as a cancer mom and you show yourself with your son, you think, did I cause this? Is it my fault? Is he going to be gone tomorrow? Like, okay. So you just like kind of take it and just like dig in a little bit further. And then on every video, what I want you to do is have text on the end of the video. Don't say it, don't add to the length of the video, but just a floating header for the last 3 seconds of the video that says, get my book Standing at the Water's Edge and my link in bio. Okay.
And I want to just point out, I think that, hang on, let me back it up one more second there. I think that this frame right now is the most arresting and most interesting frame of the trailer because it's a big image and it takes up the whole screen. And so it has less of that photo album quality to it. And it is more confrontational. It's more in keeping with the tone and the theme of the book. Sorry, Ashley, go ahead.
Love it. Okay, perfect. Because I'm going to go into one that's about the drawings and using the drawings. Something that's really similar to the first one, but it's okay to repeat yourself. We have to repeat ourselves over and over and over. Just like stand-up comedians need to practice their bit, need to repeat themselves to get their message out better. We need to say the same thing in a lot of different ways to figure out what is really going to hook people in. How is it going to land with them? So I would even say as a cancer nurse, I'd seen it all. As a cancer mom, I felt it all. Boom, end of video. Okay. Then during my son's cancer treatment, photo of him during treatment, he drew. You show a drawing and drew. You show another drawing and drew. Okay. So we're going to show him then 3 drawings. Sometimes scary, you're showing a scary drawing. Sometimes hopeful, you're going to show a rainbow. Find a picture of him, a rainbow that he drew. And then you're going to say, so it's during my son's cancer treatment, he drew and drew and drew. Sometimes scary, sometimes hopeful, he drew. And then you're going to show a picture that he drew of the 2 of you hugging. Okay. Or like, like a happy photo.
And then you crossfade from the child's drawing hugging into the photo of the adult son and the mom hugging so that we see the child drawing become the adult realization. And if you wanted to get fancy with iMovie's crossfade feature, it's really easy. It's not hard to use. You could do that with each of the drawings. Like, could you do a bunch of 10-second videos where it is the drawing and the fear fading into the photo of what life is like now? Maybe.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Stephanie says first person. And Martina says a great thing too. This will resonate with all of the parents dealing with kids who have survived COVID, as well as the nurses with PTSD. So it is timely and can give reassurance to a lot of people.
Absolutely. So it feels like it's going like a little general here, right? cancer nurse, cancer mom, but exactly. So many people can resonate with this right now. Also, when people engage, I want you to pay attention, Janice, to what resonates the most. So make more of that. If people really are like, oh my God, the photos, or it was like cancer nurse, cancer mom, that go with that a little bit more. Ask yourself, what is it they like about this? And what more do I have up my sleeve based on your experience? How many people were cancer nurses and then had to deal with pediatric leukemia? Okay. So just remember, you can say these things differently than other people can. Then continue the conversation in your Instagram stories and have these automatically cross-post to Facebook. Ask questions from your audience to see what they want more of. And then once you get some of those answers, you could consider a PDF freebie, what you need to know when your kid gets sick, from a cancer nurse and a mom who's been there. Okay. And I would say just like what to do when your kid gets sick, so that like it just gets a little bit broader. And because, we're still in a pandemic.
And that could be a really cool set of counterintuitive, either Instagram posts or mini book trailers or something. What you're supposed to do when your kid gets sick: remain calm. I spent the first 3 days huddled in a meltdown. Find out how I got out of it, standing at the water's edge. What you're supposed to do when your kid gets sick: carefully research every doctor in town. I picked the first doctor who returned my phone calls, find out why I did that. And you can do that whole set of like what you're supposed to do, what I actually did, because I'm betting that there's a lot of stuff you knew as a trauma nurse you should be doing, and that as a mom you couldn't do.
It's almost the Instagram versus reality. As a nurse, I knew I should. As a mom of a sick kid, I did blah, 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 you know? And just showing that contrast. And Janice, it is okay to boil it down, to make it more concise, to exaggerate a little bit, to simplify a little bit, to just get that contrast, because then you're telling the whole story, right? Like you wrote the whole book. So just bringing people in with a little bit of like heightened contrast is smart.
And Stephanie has dropped into the chat. Check out Michael Kinney's how-to videos on YouTube. That's Kinney, Kinney, about using iMovie. And gosh, I get a lot of messages on Facebook. And Jamie points out her book trailer is 60 seconds for Amazon, and for her website, smaller clips for social media. Basically, make one point. Ashley, where do you find music for your videos that you're allowed to use? Do you use Creative Commons or do you use something else?
I use the music that is already on iMovie. I've used, I did have a subscription to something, but I only used one song and then I canceled it. So I don't use licensed music very often. I find on almost every platform, if you want to use licensed music, you can add it in an Instagram reel, then you can add it on Facebook Reels, then you can add it over on TikTok. So there are a lot of ways to use the licensed music you want and to not get flagged. I have a really good trick. If you have a video that you created somewhere else, screen recorder, you created it somewhere, and you have, say, a Taylor Swift song on the video, and then you want to post it to TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, choose that song that matches the song you already have on your track, then turn the volume of the added audio all the way down, so that your video actually appears the way that you made it with the audio and any voiceover that you have. And you won't get flagged for that song being used without license, because it's actually tagged. It's actually, that song is already being used, in the licensable
You're using
way.
it through Instagram's license, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. This is Marisa's post about the holidays. She said this did not do well at all compared to others. Hope everyone's having an excellent winter season and happy Festivus. What's your favorite part of the holidays or least favorite part? I like to get together with my family, but we don't always get along. This week, though, my sister, mom, and I went in search of a wedding dress. The moment she found the one, our eyes welled up with tears. We all immediately knew it was the perfect dress for my sister. This This has been the best part of my holiday so far. What about you? How do you feel about the winter season? She's got a really nice image description here, which also helps Instagram categorize your post. So you are doing well by doing good. Here's the challenge with this. It's scattered. We've got a couple of different topics here. We've got winter, we've got Festivus, we've got family relationships, we've got wedding dress, we've got mild family conflict. The eggs don't really tie into the caption. They don't tie in literally and they don't tie in metaphorically. So I don't know why this is the caption with the eggs. Catherine says in the chat, I want to see the dress. And I want to see the dress too. So maybe stay on the wedding dress and open counterintuitively with something like, the best part of my Christmas was a wedding dress. And you could do a close-up of the dress fabric, a shot of you and your sister if she's willing, or maybe a hand on a button. The best part of my holiday season was this button. As soon as I fastened it on my sister's back, she cried. If you're going to write about not getting along with your family, consider using more nuance. Like, relationships are not always easy, but moments like this fill my heart. The other thing you could think about is write about the eggs specifically, something like newness and potential for New Year's. Like, these eggs are beautiful on the outside. Inside, there might be chicks or omelets. Or you could open with, will there be chicks or will there be omelets? And then you could dive into the uncertainty of the new year, the best laid plans, and so on. They're not all going to be good jokes.
I love this. I love what Marisa was trying to do with the photo here. With, we talk a lot about moments, not things. So the hand in the photo. For this, I would rather have one of the eggs in Marisa's hands and then the other eggs and the Christmas tablecloth in the background, and her husband holding the phone over top like this. So we got that angle, and maybe talking about, new hope or possibilities if we're talking about, the good moment with her mom and her sister. Or I would say take the hand out of this photo and then talk about, if we're showing the beautiful eggs. I had chickens for a long time. I love the variety in their eggs. You could have a photo of these eggs all different and talk about family relationships. The way we interact with each other is different, but sometimes it all comes together, and use that angle.
Okay, let us move on to the next one. Lisa Lewis, who is a specialist on sleep for teens. Problem number one, I can't read it. We're looking at this right now on my screen, but I want you to imagine looking at it on your phone, and your audience is at the age where they're starting to get reading glasses. You don't need the footnote. If you've got to cite a footnote, put it in your caption if you're going to put it in there at all. The other challenge here is, Stephanie says, these look like teeth to me. Are they pillows? I thought they were clogs. Like, I thought it was two Dutch clogs kind of facing away from each other, so I couldn't tell what it was. What you might actually do is get a stock photo subscription. I recommend Freepik. I really like it, Freepik. They do have many free pics, but I have also found the subscription to be very worthwhile for using stock images, making slides, that kind of thing. You have buried the lead on this one. You have buried no school next Thursday, because the lead on this is stop arguing with your kids.
Agreed. I would love, Lucy says, is your kid an asshole? Maybe they need some sleep, right? So I think that Lisa, when you're looking at her whole Instagram, she's got a great color scheme going with like blues and purples. And I love that because it makes me think of night-night. What I would love is for this to be a quote card carousel, Lisa. And the first one to say, wish you'd stop arguing with your teen, because when you're on Instagram, you're finding parents, okay? You're finding parents. So just work from the back, all right? Guaranteed less arguments, but you could do this same kind of thing, probably 7 different ways. Sleep equals happier person, right? Like the different ways that we can do this, and citing different sources. I would do just like maybe 3 or 4 big, more graphic, get rid of the pillows, just get rid of the script text, make it like bigger, more graphic, sans serif, And Lucy Lucy Frost turned me on to Oswald. I think Oswald was the font.
Oswald is a
nice.
great readable font.
Yep. And then we have it like that. And then Lisa, write more in the caption. Okay. Like use the graphic quote card to draw people in, and then show your intelligence and what studies you are referencing and all of that in your caption.
Now, there's another challenge going on here, which is this many hashtags looks spammy. Also, you need to click through on your hashtags so that you know what the other content on them. Because when I click through to teen girls, I don't get a count for hashtags, but I do get a lot of nubile looking borderline child pornography. Teen girls is not the hashtag for your audience. Let me go back one, because when I click on teen boys, it's not as bad. But when I look at these photos of teen boys, what I think of is, this is not your audience. These are not the people who are consuming content about how teens sleep better. These are the people looking for the guy flashing his butt on the log in the forest. At least it's a nice butt. I'm sure it's an of age butt voluntarily presented in a healthy affirmation of his own sexuality. So you gotta check these hashtags. On the other hand, teen mental health awareness is totally your audience. Number one, it's only got 5,000 posts. So it's going to be one where your stuff actually sticks out. And when I checked earlier today, your stuff was still in the top posts. It's not skeevy. It's not borderline porny. It is kids who really care about learning about mental health awareness. So this is where you're going to reach both the parents and the teens who are into finding out more about your subject. So narrow down those hashtags and click through on them so that you know what they're saying. I won't click through on sleep, but just know that sleep has 29 million posts on it. Your post will never be seen on hashtag sleep. So it's just kind of a waste of space. It's really important to know your audience there. Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
Sorry, I was just going to get us to jump to Dr. Ingrid's page so that we can look at something to wrap up Lisa's here. And then this is going to go into the other ones too, because we're going to try to get through some more. Okay, so Ingrid does a really good job of using trending sounds to explain what she can offer in her niche, which is she is a trauma survivor and a therapist, and she talks about complex PTSD. And she's funny. She's really figured out how to offer support and let people know what she's all about using trending sounds. This is something that might be good, Lisa, on TikTok. Allison made a note that like your teen sleep concept is ripe for TikTok, because I mean, my 14-year-old, his favorite thing to talk about is NBA 2K. His second favorite thing to talk about is how early he has to get up in the morning for school. Okay. And he's happy about one and not happy about the other. So, giving kids some of this information about stats, about sleep studies, that could actually be what flips things in their community, is if the kids really become advocates for this.
Yep. Nice stuff. Notice too, like for everybody, Ingrid's got her leads here right up front. If I were more evolved, spiritual, or forgiving, I wouldn't be stuck in a trauma response. If all that bad stuff didn't happen, my knee was bothering me this morning. You know, we're going to find out why. There are things that lead us a little bit more to what's coming next. We want to know what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Next, we have an Instagram post from Summer.
It is maybe not loading so much.
Yep. So she said this post didn't do as well as she had hoped. She said she wouldn't say it fizzled, but in the past she'd been getting more than 100+ likes. And she's just wants to understand if there are other posts that are more deserving of your time and others, and wondering what we think about the post.
Ashley, I just want to comment on that. I pasted it into our lesson plan because Summer originally wrote, and Summer, I say this with love in my heart.
Okay. Thank you.
Summer wrote, I understand if there are other posts that are more deserving of your time and others, so don't feel like you have to address this one. Don't drag yourself down. You are forbidden on the writer's bridge from dragging yourself down. You may express your insecurity. We may not get to you, but it's not because somebody else is more deserving. Push yourself up. There are so many people who want to push us down. Don't push yourself down before they do. We love you, Summer. We're glad you sent this in, and it's a pleasure to get to look at this beautiful photo of you embracing your daughter, because one of the things you really have going for you on this is a professional caliber photograph. So thank you for sharing that with the community. Ashley?
So this photo is gorgeous. And using it on Instagram and talking about courage and vulnerability is fantastic. As well as dragging yourself down a little bit in your submission of this, you have said it's not that remarkable right at the beginning. Okay. Instead of going right to, after my daughter cried in my arms, I asked her how she felt. Proud of myself.
And said. That would be the bit that we would see in our phone preview. So we would get that counterintuitive. How do you feel after you cry? I feel proud of myself. Why is that? Let me scroll and find out.
And then Summer has some advice for if she needs a really good cry. What her surefire recipes are, which I love because sometimes I feel like I need a good cry and I don't have time to watch one of the Dog's Purpose movies. So I'm like, how can I just get it quick? A real big cry. So I'm going to actually add these to my notes app. Summer.
Sometimes when my eyes get dry on an airplane on a long flight, I will watch a movie that I know is going to make me cry on purpose just so that I can make it through the flight. I did a quick rewrite on this caption that I'll just read through, and Summer, copy it if you want it, change it if you want it, but basically be more affirming and be your own authority. After my daughter cried in my arms, I asked how she felt, quote, proud of myself. And I was too. It takes courage to feel and express vulnerability. In a world that encourages my daughter to mask her autistic behaviors, strong feelings are considered dangerous, even for the neurotypical. But holding our feelings hostage is when we become unwell, diseased, and dysregulated. I actively look for ways to express feelings I know are bottled up. My surefire recipes for crying: listening to Idina Menzel sing Let It Go, any Disney movie, Joy Luck Club, the movie and/or soundtrack, Last of the Mohicans movie and/or soundtrack. What's your recipe for letting out sad feelings? Because it's always easier for people to answer a question. And this is this great idea. What do you do when you want to feel sad? Because sometimes we do. Ashley, do you want to add anything on there?
No, hit it out of the park. I totally agree.
Okay. We are getting close to breakout time, so I want to just do a very quick lightning round here. So we're going to whip through these next ones really fast. Rhonda Reed, I thought this picture of my brother would sell a book, but now I did not include a link. Your account is private. Nobody can see this post. If you want only the 278 people you already know to see it, go for it. We did go ahead and she sent us a shot, but your brother is not an endorser. We don't know who he is. We don't necessarily care who he is. And I say this with love in my heart, your caption is kind of scolding. The caption is, please share, tell 2 friends, buy a copy, or message me if you cannot afford one. No Amazon excuses this time because you can request from Barnes & Noble or your public library. All of these things are great suggestions, but you got to make them like you are helping them help you and not like you are scolding them for not doing things correctly. It's a little scoldy. Plus, your book is about penguins. I love penguins. I don't know anything more about your book or about penguins from this caption. Ashley, you want to add anything while I click over?
The best way to tell people how to support you as a writer is to document your own support of writers over and over and over and over, but it won't feel salesy because you're like, I love books. This is how I help the people who make books.
From Abby, I thought this would engage more conversation, but it flopped. Writers, if you had to choose, would you give up writing or reading? No loopholes, audiobooks, dictating copy. Which could you live without? Doesn't include writing, reading for daily stuff like driving, grocery shopping, etc. One of, and then there's stuff where she's talking about what she would give up. Number one, you posted it at the wrong time of day. It is at 10:10 a.m. here. People have finished the school drop off. They are not yet relaxing with social media. You either want to get it in before about 9 o'clock in the morning, or you want to get it in after about 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when people are getting back in gear. You can also go for about 1 o'clock, which is when people come back from lunch and aren't ready to be completely back at work. This is also two types of post. It is a thoughtful rumination on reading, and it is a provocative poll. So people are starting to think about their answer to the question. Then, no, wait, I can't answer the question. There's a bunch of rules about the answer. No, wait, Abby's going to talk about her answer more first. Abby's still talking about her answer. So Abby, your official assignment, you're going to make a choice, make two posts out of this. One of them is a provocative poll. One of them is a thoughtful rumination on reading. Go ahead and repost this, one about 2 weeks from now and one about 3 weeks from now. See how it goes then, because it's a really interesting question. It's a really, really interesting question. Ashley, anything you want to add?
No, we have a question. We have a question in the chat that I think is worth just bumping in here. Deborah asked for a sample caption that really would pull people in. My horse was buried with his back feet still tied. As I looked through the window of my front door, I wept. How will he run free in the afterlife? And she's asking if it's too morose.
I imagine my brother in the afterlife cutting him free, and that helped. My horse was named after my brother.
Okay, that is amazing.
Fuck, I want to read that.
Yeah,
when
so
I cry, I'm going to read that.
I asked Deborah, did this happen when you were a kid, or now it happened an hour ago? So Deborah, I am so sorry. I would say my horse was buried with his back feet tied, and it's upsetting me, and I'm wondering, should it really upset me? Why is it upsetting me? Just show us that tension back and forth. Like, what should this matter? Am I going to let myself feel this? And then you're like, oh, it's because I picture him. I want him to run free. I don't know if I would get into the brother part yet. I'm not sure. I would need to think it through a little bit more, but this I think could be a whole essay.
Yeah. And Deb, when the book is released next year, you are probably going to want to get a review copy of The Other Family Doctor, a veterinarian's view on love, loss, mortality, and mindfulness. I've probably slightly screwed up the title, but it's The Other Family Doctor. But it's all about how do you process grief for pets in a world where people say things like, come on, it's only a pet. So I think you're really going to want that book, and you're going to want to talk about it on your social media as well. Contact me and I will hook you up with the author, who is delightful and amazing. Last one in the lightning round. So Trish, the text here is great. It is great to make quote cards that quote from your reviews. The instinct to make the font larger on the important part is really good. However, low contrast author photo, your hair is blending into the background. Your book cover, which is already textured, is placed on top of 3 already textured things. And all of this is too much cluttery stuff. Go with just the quote and maybe a GIF about yourself. Ashley?
I completely agree. I love that font that she chose. It really pulls things in. When I share a quote from a man, especially, I will say, this is my standard response in my stories or on my feed, to say, couples reading my book together is still the biggest surprise of publishing swing. Thank you so much. And every time I mention it, more ears perk up. Oh, yeah, men and women both are reading this book. And then I move more copies.
Yep. And it seems like from some of your comments that was part of your intention. So go ahead and draw attention to that. We hope also that you will join us on the Express Lane. We're going to give you our top 3 tips in just a moment, but remember that we do have the Express Lane. Ashley, what's the code for one more week of the early bird price?
And it's actually only 48 hours. It's Bridge 2022, and that'll get you the year for $199 instead of $259. Yeah.
And we want you to also think about 2 other things. Join us next time for Endless Content, Easy Choices. how content buckets take the guesswork out of posting and increase audience engagement beyond the people you already know. So let's talk about 3 things that you can do today as we wrap up. Number 1, look at the beginning of, not your social media, your most recent writing project, your essay, your memoir in progress, your article, your short story, your novel. Are you drawing in the reader from the very beginning with a strong voice, a clear quest, and a hook? Number 2, go back to a post from 6 or 8 months ago or more and redo it with what you know now. Most of your audience either hasn't seen it or won't remember. So go ahead and reuse that sucker and have the fun of making it even better. Ashley, what's your top tip?
I would say let's take tip number 2 from Allison and let's times that by 10. Put 30 minutes on your timer on your phone and go back through Facebook and take
Instagram.
Yep, Facebook, take screenshots of status updates that were good. Go to Instagram, just take screenshots of posts that were great. And then there you go, put them all in an album for future posts. That's probably not even going to take you 30 minutes. You could probably write out notes for how you're going to change each one of those posts in the 30 minutes as well. Okay, using same photo, different caption, or a different photo, improved caption. Reuse, get clearer on what your story is and how to tell it.
Exactly. Decide who your audience is and ask, what do they need to know? And or what do I genuinely want to share about me? We want you to remember your posts are also writing. You're not on the bridge to randomly click up numbers from strangers. You are here to genuinely connect with the readers who need your book. Your blogs are a chance to write thoughtful essays that don't need permission to be published in a literary magazine. Your tweets are a chance to craft beautiful sentences. Your Instagrams are mini essays or pages from a self-help book. Your Reels and your TikToks are a chance to practice your voice and speak directly to your audience. You don't have to be on any social media. That might not be the platform that you love doing. But if you are, use social media to write well, connect on purpose. It doesn't take 1 million followers to make a difference. It takes the one person who needed to hear you today, and they will never forget you. Please unmute yourself for a joyful goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Bye. As usual, this was great.
Welcome. You are welcome.